Because the original Old Testament is in what language? Do you know? Hebrew. You know? So about 70 scholars translated the Hebrew Old Testament into Greek. When they translated Daniel 7, verse 13 to 14, so let's read this first so that you will get idea. The word that is used by Matthew here is the same Greek word that is used to translate Daniel 7, 13 to 14. So what happened in Daniel 7? Daniel 7, verse 13 and 14. So Daniel got vision, and this is what he told us. In my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days, and was led into his presence. He was given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All peoples, nations, and men of every language worshipped him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. So the word authority in verse 40 is the same Greek word that Jesus used to explain the authority that he has. Of course, the authority or power that Jesus means here is not a political power or human power, but Jesus is talking about the spiritual power. You know, when Jesus died, the worst enemy that humankind ever had. Do you know who he is? It's not your mother-in-law or your neighbor. Who else? Who is? Lucifer, the Satan. Yeah? Satan was so happy. He thought, look at Jesus. He's dead now. We win. He will take control of the universe. But what happened 3 days later? Jesus rose from his death. And the resurrection of Jesus shows us how he has defeated the power of Satan. That is why Jesus says here, all authority, all, both in heaven and on earth, has been given to me. He is the one who is the most powerful, both in heaven and on earth. And he is the one who gave the disciples and all of us the Great Commission. So, it is not Apostle Paul, it is not Apostle Peter who give us the Great Commission, the commandment to share the good news. It is Jesus who has all authority in heaven and on earth. That means at least 2 things. First, we have to obey him. When you are little, I'm talking to the youth, you have to obey your parents, right? Because, I believe our parents here love their children. They wish for the best. They pray for the best for their children. So they train their children They teach their children to be good person. That is why the children have to obey their parents. So, here we see another authority that we have to obey. And he is our master to give this command. There is a story about the former governor of Massachusetts. His name is Christian Herter. When he was running for the second term, he worked so hard until about afternoon, and then he realized that he was so hungry. And then he found a church who had barbecue. So there was a church who had barbecue, a party. So he stopped by at the church. And he saw many lines, so he was standing in line. And finally he got his turn, and the lady who served the food gave one piece of chicken to Governor Herter. And he saw the chicken was small, and he was so hungry. So he told the lady, "Excuse me, do you mind if I have another piece of chicken?" And the lady told him, "Sorry, I'm supposed to give one piece of chicken to each person." "But I'm starved," the governor said. "Sorry," the woman said again, "only one to a customer." Finally, Governor Herter thought, probably this lady doesn't know who I am. So Governor Herter told the lady, "Do you know who I am? I'm the governor of this state." And then the lady answered, "Do you know who I am? I'm the lady who in charge of the chicken." Move along, mister. Jesus is more than a governor. When we talk to him, to Jesus, we cannot have excuse. "Do you know, Jesus, who I am? I'm busy. I'm an important person. I have many things to do. I don't have time to do your job. That is not for me." And Jesus will answer to you, "Do you know who I am?" So remember, who gives the Great Commission? Jesus, the King of Kings. We have to obey. Some Christians, according to the statistic, even in fact 90% of Christians thought, the Great Commission is only for pastors, for missionaries, for evangelists, not for me. 90% of Christians think that way. But I want you to realize that God wants us to share the good news. God does not want us to keep the joy, the love of God for ourselves. That is why later Jesus said to his disciples, "Go!" Right? The second thing is, if we know who gives this Great Commission, we will share the good news with confidence, because it is Jesus who sent us. It is interesting to know how Apostle Paul viewed his mission. Let's read 2 Corinthians 5, verse 20. 2 Corinthians 5, 20. Second Corinthians 5:20. We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his